Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Football Amigos show. It's your boy Mide, as well as our resident Arsenal fan and Amigos, Amigo Ayo. Good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. Glad in the show. Mhm.
Yes, yes. Of course, our resident fan Sam for Liverpool nowhere to be found again for obvious reasons. After losing to Chelsea, we're still looking for him, but we'll find him. We'll find him. We'll bring him back, amigos. Don't worry. Like, share, and subscribe, guys. It's good to have you back to another content. We appreciate all your feedback and, of course, all your comments as well and your opinions. We appreciate them. Always remember your comments and your opinions are always your opinions. We want to hear them. Everyone shares their opinions. Everyone has the right to do so as well. So, without further ado, let's jump into Game Seven reactions. Very interesting results. Liverpool lost. They lost to Chelsea. Don't worry, we'll definitely talk about that where it goes. But we're going to start first with Arsenal beating West Ham 2-0 at the Emirates. It was a tough game for Arsenal in the first half, but then second half, Arsenal just turned on the gears really, and Nuno found it hard to really adjust to how Arsenal was playing. Declan Rice had a wonderful goal. I really like his celebration. A huge respect for him. A lot of people might argue that he should have celebrated, but when you have a club that has brought you through the ranks and then you leave and then you play against them and then you score, it's only natural for you to kind of have that respect for them. But overall, Arsenal played very well, especially in the second half. They have this identity of changing gears based on the team they have in front of them and can quickly adapt to the team that they're playing and use their weaknesses against them. I thought he really had a good game as well. That's a first. He hasn't been playing well over the past years, but for some odd reason, the longer his hair, the better he plays. The Samson effect, amigos, I would say. But I would love to hear your thoughts, Ayo, on that game and just how Arsenal performed.
Um, it was a boring game in all the best ways. Um, we started that game with a lot of intent. More interesting change that I saw was starting with both Odegaard and Eze in the central midfield with um Rice playing as a six. That was very surprising. I thought Zubimendi would start, and it just showed, I guess, we were pretty confident that we could maybe dial up um, the attacking impetus. But, Odegaard got injured for the third start, this season. That's actually a record, and he might be out for a while. We don't know yet, so that's scary. But, not to worry, we just had to just let, arguably the best young defensive midfielder in the world right now, just do a little light stretch, and then come onto the field and just run the game. It's like, we're in a this stage where it's like we're still having just as many injuries as we had last season. I mean, and obviously the subtext of that is worried, but I think a lot of teams are having injuries. But however, it's nothing seems to change. We lose Odegaard, no problem. We lose Saka, no problem. Kai Havertz, no problem. We lose Saliba for a while, no problem. Gabriel not fit to start, doesn't phase us. And we've reached a point where just because of how well we've recruited this summer, this is a much more resilient teams that can maintain standards for extended period of times, regardless of who's getting injured. I mean, I'm not happy to be seeing all these injuries. By the way, I want our players back, but it's nice to see that our season doesn't falter when the big players go. We ran the game. It went as well as I was expected. What I was very surprised was how much we stifled them. I expected at least some counter-attacking play, but we absolutely controlled that game from start to finish. Bowen was peripheral. Big thing, Diouf, the wing back.
Yes, I've had my eye. He's gonna be my next player watch
Did
candidate for
you
next week.
did you watch the game?
I did.
Saka made him look like a Bambi man.
Oh, absolutely. I
Saka made him look
mean,
like a Bambi. Oh my God.
there's a level. There's a level to who you can do those things
You're
to,
coming against,
and
yeah, right.
exactly. There's a level.
And so, like, we're talking about him so glowingly, and then I watched the game. I was like, oh, he's very inexperienced. He's very inexperienced.
He will
Yeah,
improve. He will
yeah.
improve.
Hopefully, with better coaching over time, he'll get better. But it was just surprising to see, like how you say there was levels to it. Like Saka, how he marshaled him was that he took away Diof's best attributes, which is speed, and so he made it about shifts. If you position yourself wrong, in the wrong way, he'd take advantage of that. He'd make enough turns. Like he really exploited Diof's lack of strong fundamentals so glaringly the entire game, and it was for me it was just impressive to see because I was wondering how Saka was going to cope with Diof's speed, and Saka just took that equation away. He just completely changed the equation, made it not about speed at all, made it about how defensively sound he was, and it was a good game to watch. Key things to mention: I loved what Zubimendi was doing. He mastered the game. I really love what Calafiori is becoming. Um,
Yes,
so
he will stand out to me.
yeah. So last season, everyone was like Miles, 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 and I was like, I don't think everybody gets what we're doing, but Calafiori is a big part of Arsenal's future. Calafiori, like, because like everyone was like, oh, we bought a defender, another defender for 42 million, and I was like, the fact that we stopped everything by him tells you how Arteta he was going to. He's a chaos merchant. He's a player that plays with a high degree of chaos, but his execution level is almost like a playmaker. He takes the riskiest passes, he takes the riskiest shots, he drives the riskiest plays, but he somehow executes them. He plays with a high someone I was listening to a podcast and they were like, he is the most like Liverpool type player, but in a Man City setup.
No way.
And it's that and I was like, that's like the perfect way of like explaining this. Like, shout out to those guys. But like, it's about that controlled chaos. I've never seen anything like that, especially from a defender. And ever since last season, I was completely sure that as soon as he got fit, he Martha Skelly was going to get benched, and that's what happened. But yeah, I'm excited to see what he can do, how he can grow. I don't think this team is at its final stage. I still think they're bedding in a lot of
Mm,
new ideas and a lot of new players, and there's a lot of start stop because of the injuries. So players like Gyökeres, I don't think that's the best he can do. Eze, I'm sure the more he understands the game, the more productive he will be. Zubimendi is I guess he's already perfect. Nothing to say about Zubimendi, but like other players. I really can. Like, I'm really impressed with Zubimendi. Like, when was the last time you've seen a player drop into the midfield in a Premier League from coming from outside of the league and just hit the ground running? Like, we haven't seen the best version of Zubimendi, which is a very insane thing to say from my perspective, because he's so good. Like right
Ayo,
now,
may I
I'm.
dare say it? Is he the closest thing to Busquets you've seen?
Oh wow,
That's why I said
I don't
that's why I
know.
said I
That's
dare to say it because Busquets we know is world class, beyond world class.
yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't go that far. But I would say that if he keeps his he's really young. I think he's 24. If he keeps his trajectory, maybe. But he is by far the best midfielder I've seen, at least in the last 6, 7 years at Arsenal.
Wow.
It's like, yeah, just like tech, because he's like, think about Jorginho with a
Yeah,
lot more
yeah.
physicality and a lot
Mm-hmm.
more dynamism. Yeah, so all that intelligence is there, but he also has the physicality to cope with the intensity of the Premier League, which is the one thing we were scared about. You come in here, like, will he get like run past, and somehow he's competing. So I'm excited to see what he does. Hopefully, he just goes from there. Like, most of everything that worked for us was through his passing, breaking through the lines. The penalty was because of a beautiful pass he sent to uh what's our right back? I forget his name.
During Timber.
You're in Timber, yeah. And so I want to say we have the
Mhm.
best defense. You're in Timber. I think he's one of the best right backs in the world. I want to say we're the most stable team, and that shows us well. But outside of that, I don't know. I'm just really really vindicated because the team was doing a lot of things right, and it just didn't feel like we could compete. And everything that happened this week says that, like, yes, we can compete, and like there is wisdom in how Arteta is approaching uh this
And I
game.
think that's
Yeah.
the key
Mhm.
there, wisdom in his approach. It's getting to that point now where they are so good that every week you can say Arsenal win this game, Arsenal win this game, Arsenal win this game. It's getting it, and the last time I had that feeling from Manchester United standpoint, well, of course, when Alex Ferguson was here, we had that boisterous mindset that we can just go into games and just dominate, even though we don't play well or not. Man City had that feel of them as well over a couple of years. They've lost that
Mm.
now, but Arsenal, they have it. And they're the only team right now that has the ability to say that you can say, yes, they can win that, they can win this game, they can win this game.
And definitely after week 7, it's just us.
Exactly. And maybe it's a premonition that you might just win the league this year because Liverpool
I don't know,
Liverpool
man.
are they're kind of stumbling right now. A little bit of shaky ground. Man City's trying to
Uh,
get back up. Tottenham Tottenham are
yeah,
trying and pushing. Sunderland and Tottenham they won't well Sunderland won't be there for long. Crystal Palace they might be top six. So, there's some teams there that they're not going to be there at the end of the season. Arsenal looks like the only team
yeah,
that they truly can be as consistent as they want to and stay in that top two situation.
yeah. If we don't keep
That's
getting
true.
injured, because we're reaching a soft point. I looked at the bench and I was like, we're starting to get that softness back.
Right, and you have a lot of games
So
coming up as well too.
yeah,
Champions League, uh,
yeah,
League Cup. You have the FA Cup as well at the end of the year. Yeah, games are for Premier League. Games are coming in thick and fast. So I hope you all stay healthy. This is where Arsenal Physio are gonna definitely make their money over the next couple of months. Amigos, like, share, and subscribe. Let us know your thoughts about that game and your opinions or your reactions, of course. Arsenal looking like a very solid and stable team. Moving on to Manchester United versus Sunderland, a slightly stable performance. I'm not going to say stable team, stable performance. Ayo, this is the first time I've seen Amaram actually change his formation, not just once, but 5 times, based on when they had the ball versus when they did not. And I was impressed. Not just the performance, I was more impressed by the fact that he can adapt. And this is what we've been singing and praying. It's like he heard us last week. He had that interview with Owen Hargreaves and in Carrington and said, "I will make changes." Good. That's what you should do. That got me slightly excited to see. Okay, especially as a coach, my mindset is thinking, okay, what is he going to change based on what we know of him? And then I started to think, okay, it's probably going to be a different style when we have the ball, different formation when we don't have the ball. And I wanted to see the personnel he would pick to match that. And of course, the game would tell you if they can execute it consistently or not. And there were moments where, but of course, with the addition of Lemons, he's a breath of fresh air. He's still young. I'm not going to go overboard, but he did the things we've been asking our last two goalkeepers to do. He did it very well. I haven't seen a tap on the head several times from an entire Manchester United team on their goalkeeper. I haven't seen that in a while. There were 5 of them this game. Again, I'm not going to get carried away, amigos, but you can only play and applaud the team when they perform well against whoever is in front of them. And shout out to Mason Mount. I didn't see that coming from him, but he has the ability to do these things. Long may he stay fit. I felt Mbomo and Ahmad had a good game. Ahmad more so in the second half. First half, he was definitely off, and that's only normal. He's just coming back from bereavement. It looked to me that, and something else he changed that I noticed, Ayo, he allowed Mount and Bruno interchange between the 8 and the 10. And I like that. And he also sends a message to Cunha, you got to do better. You got to do better. And go ahead.
Oh, Cunha can't do that. Yeah.
No, go ahead. No, elaborate more. Go ahead.
Sorry, Cunha can't do the interchanging. So a big
Mm-hmm,
part for me of the stability in the front line is actually
mm-hmm,
Mount, and he was a standout player in the Arsenal game. And most of the times you've done well, it's revolved
mm-hmm,
around him. And I was like, he might be one of those like Henderson type players for you, where it's not clear what he excels at, but when it's there, it just works. And like you said, long may he stay active, but like 'cause I think the team was just a lot better balanced than it would have with either Cunha or because Mount
mm-hmm,
presses a lot. He does a lot of work
mm-hmm,
off the ball, so the shape doesn't
mm-hmm,
break down. It's more stable. He's where he needs to be. He understands. I mean, in terms of understanding the whole positioning of a midfield where he needs to be. Because what I'm seeing there is that I don't even think it's so much Fernandez. I think it's Mason Mount just understanding that if
just
Fernandez was pushing
dropped.
up,
Yeah.
that space
Yeah.
has to be covered. Like it's less about Fernandez and him. It's more about Mason Mount really understanding what Amarim is
Mm-hmm.
trying to do and executing at a high level. And it almost feels like more than anybody on that team, he might be more of an avatar
I agree. I
for the
agree.
coach.
And Amarin
Yeah,
did something too that I think I hope he keeps doing this. On the ball, he played a 3-5-2. He changed it. And he kept three midfielders in the middle, which we've been crying for, and moved either Mbuemo with Sesko or Bruno with Sesko or Mount with Sesko. Sesko always had someone on either side of him to play
to
with.
play with.
And that also allowed us to go from that formation, 3-5-2, to a 2-3-5 in attack, and then allows us to drop as well, which also gave Casemiro. We didn't even hear about him that much, but he cleaned up because now he had two people in front of him behind them to just do what he needed to do. And the team just looked like they've been coached well in those different formations, right? And then, of course, when we were all the way at our defensive third, it was a back five. It was a back five. And
Mm.
the personnel that he used complemented the formation. Players like Euro, players like Delit, players like Luke Shaw, surprisingly, did well. Maybe that's what he needed, someone to play beside him. And the team just looked like they knew what they were doing finally. And back to Cunha's point about Cunha, the question now becomes why did we buy two tens? Mano can play there, Mount can play there, Bruno should be playing there, Ahmad can play there. Why did we buy Cunha?
From my perspective, it just looked like they were panicking last season. Um, and they just needed people who performed better than their XG. So players, because honestly, from what I understand, I think the end game is cutbacks. The idea is that it wants to come back into that space just at the edge of the box, and you want players that can really bury it. Cunha is one of those that excels, if that's the case. Mbeumo is someone that excels, and Fernandez obviously excels at those two things. And they were just hoping if they could maximize that, they'd get it. They'd get more goals and win more games. But I definitely think. Yeah, I think Cunha was overkill. I think they needed someone to replace
Yeah,
Fernandez
yeah.
as an eight, or at the very least, someone more athletic to replace Casemiro. One or the other, or even both. I don't know how much Cunha cost, but if you could
68.
have got both for that 68, like maybe you could have got two players for that, because they are missing an eight and they are missing a six.
Sorry,
And for my
63. It
two
was
cents, I don't
63.
think
Sorry, it was 63.
63. Yeah. uh, but like you could have gotten maybe I don't know, but at least just another player in the midfield that was better suited for what he was trying to do. So yeah, I agree with you. I think Cunha was a mistake. Like Mbeumo, if you can get Mbeumo, you get him. But I think
Maybe
Cunha was a
and may and
mistake. Yeah, or at
right,
least too soon. Yeah.
and maybe
Mm.
United were planning to have Bruno leave. I mean, I'm hearing rumors that
Mm.
he might be leaving for Saudi after the World Cup. Maybe that's what they're preparing for. Hence buying
Yeah.
Cunha now. Cunha just gonna have to wait. Maybe we interchange them more, but yeah, I mean, it's getting to that point now where Paul Maino and Ugarte, they're not playing much either. And there's that challenge of, should we stick to the young players because they're going to be here longer, or should we play experienced players to get us results? It's a tough battle.
Yeah, yeah. Like, I Ugarte, I feel bad for him. I'm not exactly sure why he's not playing more, but honestly, if you can't bounce Casemiro, that's on you. So we'll leave that on the side. Maino, the way I feel about it in my watch is that have you ever seen
No.
Whiplash? Oh, so it's this movie with JFK sorry, J.K. Simmons. It was this one about like a
Hmm.
musical instructor and he's running a band, and one of the main characters, or the main character, he's a drummer, and he gets into this symphony, and he's doing it one of his first practices, and he's
I've heard
drumming,
about that.
and then
I've
the
heard about
conductor,
that.
yeah. So are you dragging or are you rushing? Like that was that where that meme is from, and that's how I feel about Mino. I can see him being so exquisitely talented, but he's just not the right key. Like it's just off. Just like if it needs to be a C, it's on a C sharp. Like or the tempo is just not right. So he's in this problem space where he's doing all the right things visually, but the timing is off and things are breaking down. And it might not be as uh recognizable when you're playing a lower or a slower tempo or a lower quality team. But when you play a higher quality team and a high intensity game, it becomes wildly apparent. And so for me, he has a lot of things to work on his game, and he would have been so much better suited with a really good number eight for him to learn from. Imagine if you guys had Tonali
Wow.
and and Mino just
Wow.
understudied him. Like imagine if you had like there's like for me that player that needs to show Mino what to do is not there. And I was always thinking of like maybe you guys should have sent him to Spain or something for like 2 years or like whatever it is, like when he was 19, because I don't think he's ready, and it's so hard to get a young midfielder to be ready to run a midfield. Like Bergvall
Hmm.
in Tottenham, I'm not the
Hmm.
closest we've seen to doing
Hmm.
something at a high level, and he makes
Mistakes. Yeah.
horrible mistakes
Yeah.
every other game. Yeah, and so for me, it's he's just in this rock in his hard place where it's like I guess he's too talented to send on loan, but not enough to run Man United's
And here's what
midfield.
I think about him. I personally think his best position is on
Yeah.
the left as a 10. Personally, I feel like I,
Wow.
I feel like
Okay.
he is. I feel like he is that type of player that knows how to spin away from pressure and take a one-time shot. Every goal that I've seen him play has always been in that left, including the one against Leon last season, where he got that goal to tie us at 4-4, I believe. He has the ability to play there. The problem is we have too many tens. We have too many tens, and now we're
Mm,
forcing him to play as an eight or a six, where he's not used to. I think Meno is a 10 on the left. Personally, I think he is.
really?
I think that's his best position, and I think what should have
Yeah.
happened is we shouldn't have bought shouldn't have bought Cunha. We should have allowed Bruno to play 10, and then you have Maino
Hmm.
as a substitute over time at 10. On the right, you have
Hmm.
Mbuemo and you have Mount, right? And left it at that. And
Hmm.
then you buy two midfielders to take Casemiro and Ugarte, or Ugarte and another midfielder. That's what should have happened to me. And maybe spend that money on an actual midfielder, a good midfielder, or a good goalkeeper. Sesko looks like he's kind of getting his feet under the table now. He has already scored what, 2 goals now or three. I like that. That's what I think about Maino. I think his best position is a 10. And the problem now is if he's not getting playing time, we have to loan him out. We have to loan him out, but we should not sell him because Bruno's gonna leave. Bruno's gonna
Oh, I
leave.
mean,
I don't know what's gonna happen with Ugarte. Casemiro's gonna leave. What are we gonna have in the midfield?
yeah.
Maybe
I mean, I
Mount plays
don't.
midfield then and allows Beno to play as a 10 with 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 Bruno. Who knows?
Yeah, I think Mount is he needs to be able to vacate. Like you need someone who just like takes that position and just like a Zubimendi really just runs the game and everybody can just run through. Yeah, I agree with the loan thing. I just wish it was done
Mm-hmm.
earlier for Mino. Because he's reaching a stage where it's like you start sending him for loan. It has a chance to just get messy, and he may not want to come back.
Right, right. And
Hmm.
then Xerxes another
Yeah,
one that I would think Amron should give him some time in the second half and move Sesko. But I'm also hearing now Zeski wants to leave, and I don't blame him. I don't blame him. He's just never been one of those players that fit the Manchester United mold. He's not a 9. He's not a 10. What is he? I don't know. I just felt like we shouldn't have made that buy in the first place. He doesn't fit this Mayu style of play unless we change formation where he plays behind two strikers. I don't see him being the player that we thought he would be, and he never prolific when we bought him. We're meant to buy prolific goal scorers. We
hmm,
never did. So it's gonna be a busy December January transfer window for United. I just have this feeling we're gonna have even more players leave the team, and maybe we bring one in. Yes,
in January.
yes.
Oh
I feel like
wow,
there's gonna be about 4 or 3 loans to leave.
players to
Yeah,
leave. Yeah, well, I mean, there are probably quite a few players that want to go. Is did Sancho
yeah.
get
He
a
has a
team?
team. Aston Villa. He's on loan.
Oh
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. I guess does
He
he play for
has.
them?
He
I don't
has.
think I've
He
seen
played
him
in their
play.
last game. They won.
He
Yeah,
has. Okay.
he has.
You
Hmm.
did okay. Yeah, so I was like, I guess you want to get those players off, but I was like, Casemiro
No,
maybe?
Casemiro will probably leave at the.
With
I think he's
six
going to
months
leave at the
left,
end of the season.
end of
Yes,
season.
because players want to
Yeah,
play because of the World Cup. They are trying to push hard to get into the
yeah.
World Cup. So if you're not playing in United as much as you should, people will want to leave. Yeah.
You want to go out.
So it's gonna be an interesting
Yeah,
February to see who's left and see how the season plays out. But long may it continue with
I
Amram
agree.
making
Mm,
changes, and it looks like he has the personnel to actually execute those new formation that he plays with or without the ball out of possession or in possession. Amigos, like, share, subscribe. Let us know your thoughts about that game, and of course, we didn't say much about Sunderland, but they looked like they just didn't play well, and looked like Manchester United nullified their game plan and isolated Isildur from getting the ball from anyone, frustrated Xhaka out of the field. So again, a solid performance by United. I'm not going to get carried away, but they did play well. The big game, Chelsea Liverpool. Liverpool lost to Chelsea at Stamford Bridge 2-1. Esteval scores the winning goal at the 96th minute. It was a very good goal. The issue started with Caicedo's goal. What was Van Dijk doing? Ayo, please help me understand why defenders always track back and allow attacking players to come into their box where it's dangerous. Why not go to him and challenge the ball? Why would you back off and give him the space to shoot? You know the type of player he is in midfield. When he takes a shot, it's probably going to be a 60% chance of it going into the net, especially when it's 30 yards. Why would you back off and give him that space? Right now, Liverpool don't look like themselves. Someone said they look like a Galacticos team, and I can agree. Also, before I let you kind of give your opinions, Ayo, to me, Ekitike is better than Isaac in that Liverpool team. In that Liverpool team. Right now, in that Liverpool team, Ekitike is better. And the reason why I say he's better is because everything that's been good about Liverpool this season, he was involved with it based on how he plays and
Mm.
based on how he's unselfish. Right now, Isaac, I don't know if he's just forcing himself to score, but he's not doing well. Salah is off. Florian Wirtz had a better second half when he came in, but he hasn't been playing well. It just looks to me that there's a broken chemistry in that front six that needs to be fixed if they want to survive, if they want to keep their title. Aya, your thoughts?
They have a lot of things to figure out. There's been a lot of change, and it's not just personnel change, but some of the personnel that left, two in particular, Luis Diaz, and Trent, uh, were so unique and so critical to how Liverpool played last season that having both of them gone means they have to play a very different way. Uh, there's just nobody on the front line that can provide the intensity of Diaz. Actually, another player that was actually really good at this, even though he wasn't getting goals, was
Exactly.
Nunes.
I told Aya the
Uh,
same. I told Sam the same thing, and he agreed with me through text message. Amigos, I did tell him that.
yeah,
He
through
agreed.
text me. And so, without that intensity, trying to really, really squeeze a team is not impossible. And some of the defenders, because we have a lot of great ball playing defenders in the league, but it just means that you give them a lot more time to pick their passes. And most of these players will punish you. And so that part already starts. And then the fact that they can't figure out what to do with Frimpong, completely different profile to Trent. And I don't think physically as a left back he's really good because he's always been a
Yeah,
wing back. He has never
yeah. I
been
don't know.
a left back.
Yeah,
So to play in the back floor is asking for problems. I don't know, maybe Liverpool are looking to change. I mean, Kirkers, you're just teething issues. And if it's not quite right, a team like Chelsea, a team like Crystal Palace will hurt you. It's just, say what you want about Chelsea's season, but they did win the Club World Cup. And that tells you that whenever they're on their A game, they're one of the best teams in the world. And so they just showed that. They had a lot of good depth in offense. I'm very impressed because it felt like most of their defenders were out, and they still managed to control Liverpool's attack. It was competitive. I mean, Saka had some chances that if he had put them away, we'd be having a completely different not Saka, sorry, Salah. Mo Salah had some chances. If you put him away, it'd be a completely different conversation. So these are tight games, that Liverpool are playing. They just, you know, they just leave it too late. They roll their dice a few too many times, and you roll your dice or you roll your coin and you're expecting heads. Sometimes you get tails, and I think that's what really just happened in the last two games. There wasn't much between them and Chelsea. I don't want to even say that Chelsea outplayed them. I think Liverpool, especially for that period in the second half, were threatening to run away with it. They just couldn't find the net, and
and
when you don't, just have chance the
right,
opposition will hurt
and
you.
here's
Yeah.
another thing too that I question Liverpool about. You decided to buy Frimpong that you know he's a wing back, not a right back, and then because you've seen his deficiencies, you're now playing Seboslai that actually balances that midfield technically to allow players like McAllister to attack or even Salah to do whatever he wants to do on the right, and Szoboszlai kind of covers him at the back. You move Szoboszlai to right back, and you lose that balance. It's like who handled the recruitment for Liverpool over the summer? Why, if you're not going to play wing backs, or maybe the decision is to play Frimpong in Salah's position when Salah gets tired of not playing well. But we know he's not. He's
That's
not a
not a good
winger.
plan.
So why in the world would you buy him when you know he doesn't fit your style of play?
Um, I, if I'm being honest, I actually think that they want that to be their free spot. They're expecting they can have enough dominance. What's it called? That they vacate. Because really, Trent was expected to vacate that right back position, go into center midfield or go out wide, but more as a kind of like a playmaker role. I think they want to be like, if they want to move Salah centrally, Frimpong takes the wide spaces. Szoboszlai can come in to the center and join the midfield and actually play a creative role. And then if you just want to play a structured way, then they bring in Bradley. And all of this is predicated on Konate's form.
That has not been good either.
And because because everything that's happened in Liverpool have always taken that risk with that right
Hmm.
back position. Konate has just been in such a brilliant, like athletically, to cover the space, to shift, to make the necessary adjustments, to make sure that that wasn't too costly. They were able to cover for that. And I think something is wrong in that dynamic that once players vacate, it's very hard for the defensive shape to account for that. And so, yeah, I'm not they're gonna be there or thereabouts, but they do have a lot of things to figure out, and if they can't figure out, maybe Arsenal builds a big enough distance that even though it all gels halfway through the season, there's not enough games to catch them, or they figure it out. I mean, these games are tight. The Crystal Palace game, okay, to be fair, Liverpool are lucky to still be 1-1, so I'll scratch that. They should have lost that if they if all things being fair. But the Chelsea game, I thought was very balanced on a knife edge. And I thought Liverpool had many chances to build a lead and establish yourself in the game, and it just didn't come off. And when you don't do that, there's a chance that a team like Chelsea can hurt you. So personally, I just feel like they were unlucky this Chelsea game, and I don't think there should be too much for us to read. But till we see what it all is gel together, I think then we get a sense as to what Slot was thinking or what the leadership or recruitment team was
Ayo,
thinking. But right now, I agree with
yeah,
you. It's
Ayo.
hard to see.
Controversial question:
Yeah,
should
yeah.
Salah be dropped and Ekitike move to the right? Saka,
Can I take it? Can like a ticket
yeah,
play on the on
yeah, he
the on
can,
the right?
he can. And then Saka up top, Ekitike on the right, Gakpo on the left. Or
Uh,
Ekitike replaces Saka.
sorry, you mean Isco up top?
Gakpo, Gakpo, Gakpo to the
Gakpo up
left,
top.
Isak up top, Ekitike on the right.
Yeah.
Or you have,
Where's
go ahead.
where's the pace? Where's the separation? No cluster that
So
central
you
area.
think Ekitike would drift to the middle with where Isak is? Okay,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think Ekitike is best to the left.
okay, and then okay. So you're thinking Ekitike, Isak, and Salah, the front three? Yeah,
Yeah,
I can
yeah,
see that. I can see that.
yeah.
Or, mhm,
But the problem with that is that there's no intensity,
yeah.
and we guys have already taken. And like someone like Mo Salah, I mean, you have to give him the benefit of the doubt. He has to play
Hmm.
himself into form. Like that's just the crux of it. Like I was listening to some feeds and they were talking about Jota's passing away and how it affected like the club
Hmm.
and like maybe there's some growing pains. Maybe things are
Hmm.
just not quite right and they just need to just settle down into this new reality. But someone like Mo Salah, I mean, they built last season's
Hmm.
challenge on his back. And it's suffice to say that when he's not firing, people are like worried about if Liverpool can
Hmm.
sustain a challenge, even though they just bought both Isak and Ekitike. So him regaining his form is
Hmm.
critical for anything happening for them, whether in the Champions League, whether
It's in Premier League.
whether Premier League. Because like it's like Arsenal. Like if Saka is having a bad form and be like, oh, let's just drop Saka and carry it. I'm like, oof,
Well, it's been over 7 games, and
yeah,
he hasn't been playing as well as he should. That's the reason why that's going.
yeah.
But to your point, he's a
I know,
special
I know.
player.
It's
To your point, he has to play himself into form.
mhm.
I agree.
Maybe take him off sooner.
Okay, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I'll acquiesce to that, but like fully dropping him, I don't
yeah.
know. Yeah.
No, it's interesting,
Hmm.
but let's take a few minutes to just applaud Chelsea. The pressing in that game for Chelsea was one of the best I've seen in a very long time. It was beautiful. Every single player knew what they needed to do, and they pressed at the right time based on the triggers that Liverpool were showing. And they just looked well coached. And then my question becomes, why don't Chelsea play the same way every time? Is it because they're so young?
Inconsistency is the hallmark of youth. It's when you get stable performers, you normally get it from older players who are more seasoned, who understand because game states
Mm,
change, situations change, atmosphere change, momentum changes. So the thing about Chelsea, what I believe, is that if they're on top, they can capitalize on that. But if they're rattled, they break down. Like, and so that's where that inconsistency is. It's just really about if your team is just stable. Like Arsenal is very, it's a very mature team. I'll give you that way. If we're bossing the game, right,
mhm,
we're fine. But if we're going to have to defend for the next 80 minutes, it's still fine. Like we'll, we'll still do that regardless. And I don't think Chelsea has that, and that's why they have inconsistent. They have moments that make you go why, and they throw away leads and they lose games. But they're just young. They're not really. They've not been together for that long. Chelsea like to chop and change. There's a lot of transition happening in terms of backroom staff and squad. So it just takes a while to gel. They look more of a team this
mhm.
season, but I don't think they look anywhere close to winning it. However, I'll say, that Esteval kid,
He is very good.
um,
He's a hot prospect for sure.
yeah, yeah, he's special, and long may he continue. I like his
Hmm.
attitude. I like his energy. It's a shame that he's doing it for Chelsea, but if you see a player and you want that player to
I can
succeed,
see him playing in
he's
Arsenal.
one of
I can
those.
see him
Yeah,
being an Arsenal player too. Yeah, I
I
can
won't
see
mind.
he won't do it, but that's who we were.
Yeah.
And he's like you said, his personality and his attitude was just so good. That's who we wanted Garnacho to be, but that was never the
Mm.
case. Amigos, like, share, and subscribe. Let us know your thoughts about Game 7. Some exciting games were played. Man City had a tough time at Brentford, but they did win 1-0. Great weekend of football, as always. Amigos, like, share, and subscribe. Let us know your thoughts about those games. We will bring you, of course, our Game 8 predictions after the international break, where we are right now. As mentioned, starting next year, after the World Cup, the national breaks are going to be focused on only pretty much 3 weeks, and that will be it. So we're very excited about that change made by FIFA, as we mentioned in our last content. But we will be on the pause from a Premier League standpoint. However, that doesn't mean we won't bring more content for you. So stay tuned on more content. We're going to do some debriefs about some of our teams and really dive deep into what's going on, what's working, what's not working. And of course, as always, we are not one to just vent. We are one to also provide solutions for those teams. So stay tuned for that, amigos. We have that coming for you soon in our next content. As always, like, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful rest of your day. As always, stay positive. Talk to you soon.